morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a look at a huge update for Shining Treasures EX. To be fair, literally yesterday, I showed you a big update about Shining Treasures EX. But the thing is, we now have an even bigger update than we did yesterday, although I do need to stress, because this is very, very important, do not sleep on how big that tool I showed you yesterday is going to be. That tool I showed you yesterday is absolutely gigantic. Go watch that video. I'll pop a link in the description. It is redonk, ladies and gentlemen, how big that tool is going to be. I assure you, and I am 100% certain about this, that tool is going to have a big impact on the competitive landscape of the Pokemon trading card game. But that is not what we are talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about a bunch of new cards. We've got a bunch of actual new cards, and we've got a bunch of shinies, and we've got a couple of EXs. So let's start off there with Great Tusk and Iron Treads. And before we go anywhere else, yes, we do have an ancient Pokemon and a future Pokemon. I've had a bunch of people essentially saying, well, hang on a second, why haven't we gotten an errata that turns the Scarlet and Violet base Iron Treads and Great Tusk into future and ancient Pokemon? And there's a good answer to that question, and it's really simple. They were not designed for that mechanic. They were never intended to be ancient and future Pokemon, and to retcon them as ancient and future Pokemon like a year later, that's not a good thing. We don't want that. That's absolutely not what we're going for here. No, ladies and gentlemen, what we've got instead is a new version, and these could be good, but a lot's been revealed, so we have to go quick. Great Tusk is a phenomenal card with a phenomenal downside. 250 HP basic, huge, but it's got the ability Crumbling Quake. If this Pokemon is in the active spot at the end of your turn, you must discard the top 5 cards of your deck. That's clearly a gigantic downside. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing at all. Generally speaking, that is a lot of self-mill. I played a huge amount of Excadrill back when Excadrill was legal, back in the Players' Cup 1 and 2. I qualified for the Players' Cup 1 and 2 with Excadrill decks. Players' Cup 1, I made it into day 2. Players' Cup 2, I was casting, so I wasn't actually allowed to play properly. But I did at least qualify. And the downside with that, very simply, was you were milling yourself with 4 every turn, and there were games it got too much. There were games I couldn't cope with it. That will happen here. It is a downside. And don't get me wrong, right? There are sometimes this is going to work. Remember that Professor Sada is a new card in this set, and that attaches an energy from your discard pile to 2 different ancient Pokemon. So clearly this could be useful in terms of getting energy in the discard pile to use Professor Sada. I'm not saying it won't. And then if you really want to go silly, and occasionally I do want to go silly, don't forget Wormadam is a thing, and you can obviously use this with Wormadam to really pad your discard pile very quickly in the game, so that you can go ahead and be doing big damage with Wormadam. I understand this entirely, but take it from me, as someone who's played a lot of self-mill with stuff like Excadrill, this can go very, very wrong very, very quickly. Good. Good. But we've also got a really ridiculous attack here. 4 energy, 260, not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. It's very, very expensive, but that's a lot of damage, and it goes through anything. If you whack a tool on there, let's say, oh, I don't know, Choice Bout as an example, you're actually getting 1-hit KO on V-Stars. You're already getting Pokemon V and basic EXs and Stage 1 EXs. This is just a card filled with downsides. I adore the fact that you're doing huge damage. I adore that you go through anything that might be blocking you, but this ability is a huge downside. I'm giving this 3 Wassies, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I've already been looking at the early opinions of this card, and not everyone is being especially kind. I'm a big Don fanboy. You can see it in the logo of my channel. Maybe I'm overrating this. I kind of like it, but it is a card filled with downsides. You must remember that. As for Iron Treads, 220 HP, and we got single attack, free energy. After dealing damage, you may discard a Future Boost Energy Capsule from this Pokemon. If you do, during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 150 less damage from attacks. Now, the good news about this is that you get to do the damage, because obviously remember, Future Boost Energy Capsule does an extra 20, that's very important, and you will get to do that extra 20 here. So you will actually do 170, and then you'll be reducing damage by 150 next turn. That's really good. Here's a problem, and it is a fairly large problem: energy acceleration. Like, I've been telling you guys for a while now, I love Copperaja. I'm a huge fan of the Copperaja that came around in Paldea Evolved. And yeah, I got the reveal of that card in English, so I'm clearly a little bit biased, I admit that, but I think it's a really good card, and it's another really good tanky card. The problem here is that, just like with Copperaja, energy acceleration is not particularly good, and that's a little bit of a pain. The good news is, I'll give this one free wasses as well, bit of potential, but a bit awkward. The good news is we have these two new EXs in Shiny Treasures EX, which I very much appreciate, but I think both of them have a huge amount of potential without ever actually realizing it, and that just makes me genuinely a little bit sad. Not bad cards, I don't think, although I know some people disagree with me about Great Tusk, but disappointing cards that I don't think are going to set the world on fire. Boo! But hey, there are a bunch of people out there that have been enjoying playing United Wings. That has been something some people have been getting very, very happy about. We've actually seen United Wings top cutting at a bunch of events. And one of the cards that's been top cutting is the Wattrel. Well, we've got a shiny version of that Wattrel. Yay! So if you want to go ahead and start playing this United Wings, we've got a cool version to play. It's the same card we saw before, it's just a shiny version of it. But hey, it's the shiny version of it. That's pretty gosh darn good. This makes me a little bit happy. Do you know what else makes me a little bit happy? This new Killer Wattrel. Because this new Killer Wattrel is a brand new card, and it has a shiny version as well. And it's actually kind of cool. Oh, I should say I did the translations myself and checked with lovely Antoine Boulet, as I tend to do. Single Energy United Thunder. Choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This attack does 10 damage to that Pokemon for each Pokemon with the United Wings attack in your discard pile. So, stage 1, single energy snipe for like 100 or maybe even a little bit more. And bear in mind, it's got free retreat. If you want to be playing United Wings, this is actually a very cool card. It gives you a very nice option. I'm genuinely a fan of this. Like, I've not been a huge fan of United Wings generally. I still don't buy it as some kind of like great competitive deck. Yes, I know it has day 2 regionals. But I think if you're playing United Wings, you're playing Wattrel anyway. So you might as well just whack a Killer Wattrel in there because I don't know why not. And then, of course, single energy and you're sniping for, you know, up to like 110. It's not bad, ladies and gentlemen. That's not bad. For anyone that's wondering, remember there are 3 different Pokemon that have United Wings. And it's kind of fun because now we've got Murkrow that has a pre-release promo version. We've got Flamigo that has an illustration rare. And Wattrel didn't have a fancy version, but now it does because it's got a shiny. And now all 3 of them have a nice version, you know, different from their regular, and there's something about that that makes me pretty happy. So yeah, if you like United Wings, it just got a bunch better. We've then got a new Charmander, a shiny Charmander, except it's not actually a new Charmander, it's just a shiny Charmander. And it's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not new. It's just shiny. It is the 70 HP, single energy, discard a stadium, 2 energy, 30 damage. It is, of course, the one that came around in 151. Cool card. Love the shiny version of it. But it is just a shiny of an existing card. What I will tell you is, it's a Charmander. And people like Charmander. So, yes, absolutely, this is going to be a very, very popular one. This is going to be one of the most popular shiny cards in the set. And yes, because it's a one from 151, that does mean we do have an illustration rare as well. So we've got the regular, the illustration, the artwork rare. You can choose which one you like. We then got a Charmeleon coming in here as well, and you should at this stage be going, well, hang on a second, Wassy. Charmeleon with an ability, that doesn't look right. No, it doesn't. Funnily enough, the last Charmeleon we had with an ability was actually the one from Dragon Majesty, which did get reprinted as a shiny version later on, which is actually kind of a cool bit of symmetry here. So yay! This one, however, different Charmeleon, it's actually got a really nice ability. It prevents all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. And as we've seen many times before, that doesn't include damage. Damage is not an effect. But as just one example, you know what is an effect of an attack? Dropping damage counters, like that pesky Sableye loves doing. This can't have damage counters dropped on by something like Sableye. Automatic KOs, special conditions, energy removal, damage counters, these are things that will protect it. And it doesn't say if this Pokemon is active. It literally just reads, this Pokemon prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks. It's cool. It's lovely. Gives that protection. Of course, a lot of people just bypass stage ones nowadays anyway and just go to Rare Candy route. That's not the point. If you want a Charmeleon, I think this just became the best Charmeleon because honestly, having that protection is pretty gosh darn good. Yes, I know the one from 151 has 100 HP, and yes, there is an argument that having the extra 10 HP is better. I'm going to leave that one up to you. However, I really do like having this protection. Having this protection makes me very happy. Now, we've had a new Mime Jr, which has gone and been revealed. It's got lovely Hyaganosuke artwork, and it's got a shiny version as well. Although, before we go on, it's not something I've really found room to talk about in a video much, but we all know by now Hyaganosuke, my second favourite artist in the Pokemon TCG, has been making a picture with their artwork lately. This is the 9th and final card in that artwork. The picture is now complete. And the thing is, I love Hyaganosuke. They are my second favourite artist in the game. I adore their work. I don't think this is their strongest work. I think having to make it into a picture of 9 has limited them. And I'm honestly quite excited for them to start doing pictures outside of this. Please don't think me mean. This is obviously a very handsome looking card. And it's got a shiny version. The shiny version is cool. Oh, and it's actually the first Mime Jr we've seen since Call of Legends, which is a very, very long time away. Long time ago, that'll do. Fun little side note, the Mime Jr was actually really good. Back then, it was putting cards from your opponent's deck into the Lost Zone, which was a win condition. It was actually a really good card that saw a bunch of play, which is weird, but kind of cool. I love this. Is this new on the same? No, but it's kind of hilariously specific, and I love it. For 0 energy, we know the baby Pokemon coming back now have 0 energy attacks. For 0 energy, your opponent chooses an attack from one of their Pokemon in play. Use it as this attack. Your opponent gets to choose which attack you do, but they can only choose from their Pokemon out. There's going to be times where you can force them into a good attack, and that's going to be hilarious. But a lot of the time, they're going to have a bad attack to use. I don't think it's a serious card competitively. I don't even really care. I love this. It's stupid and dumb and brilliant, and I love it. But I'm going to finish with one card here that makes no sense. It's Xatu. And here's why it doesn't make sense. This is literally just the Xatu which we've just gotten in Paradox Rift. It's a phenomenal card that I've gushed about many times before, because it's got the ability to let you attach a psychic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and then draw 2 cards, one of your bench Pokemon. It's a very good card. Here's why this card is weird and makes no sense. Japan doesn't have the pre-release promo version of this card. Remember, Japan doesn't get the pre-release promos, we do. So, I expected them to get this card in the set. That made sense to me. Because they're going to be getting a bunch of pre-release promos. These year-end sets, Japan often use as an excuse to go and get their, the pre-release promos that we've had that they haven't. All of this makes perfect sense. Why are they getting a different version of Xatu? Are they getting 2 versions of Xatu in the same set? They might be. It's possible. But it's very weird when I'm expecting them to get a pre-release promo of a card, And they're getting that card, but it's not the pre-release promo version. It's a different version altogether that we've never seen before. That's unusual and unexpected, and I don't really understand why. Doesn't really matter. It's just incredibly weird, and I didn't see it coming. So we've got 2 new EXs. We've got 5 new shiny Pokemon, some of which are actually brand new Pokemon, the Mime, the Kilowattrel, and the Charmeleon. And then we got this new Xatu artwork, which makes absolutely no sense. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Tell me if you think there's hope for Great Tusk like I do, or whether you think it's garbage like apparently everybody else does. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! Also, that Kawaii artwork on the Great Tusk is just chef's kiss perfect. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, of course, like the lovely Dark1313, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and seems like a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.